And you can agree to that if you want. You have free will. You can agree to those old agreements if you want. I'm going to be over here agreeing to the new. Hey, it's Sebastian. This is things I've been thinking about. There's some drama in the gay community right now, and I know that sounds like an oxymoron, but stick with me. I kind of feel like this energy has always been present, but it's really being illuminated right now. This drama is surrounding the gays that went to circuit parties and sex parties and weren't wearing masks and traveled for these large events during this pandemic. And it spawned an Instagram feed that has been calling people out and asking for accountability. I understand the frustration, 100%, but it kind of makes me want to dive a little deeper and examine the why we as gay men make some of the choices we make. Let's break it down. So, right out of the gate, oppression, which is not great, it pushes us further and further away from the truth of who we are. It drives us deeper into feelings of separation from ourselves, from source, from our family, from our friends, and eventually the world and others within our very own community. Then, from belief systems that manifest out of this oppression, we go on to create lives that amplify that separation. Our feelings of separation create more separation. Now, the gays that choose to express through circuit parties and sex parties are doing it to feel safe, but they are unknowingly generating their thoughts and actions for the most part. I guess I can't make a blanket statement like that, but most of them, I would think, are generating their thoughts and their actions from a frequency of fear. And what are they afraid of? Death. Death of their identities. Death of who they believe they are. Who am I without the parties? Who am I without the attention? Who am I without the drugs? Without the sex? In the mind, twistedly, it becomes about self-preservation. It's about survival. Their identities become attached to these external circumstances, the men, the parties, the drugs, the sex, and this feeling of freedom, this frequency of freedom that exists within that field of expression. I would say that the circuit culture or the party culture is a field of expression. But even this field, in many ways, was manifested through fear and separation from the rest of the world, who essentially has denied our existence. Now, I'm not a betting man. The lottery, I guess, is technically betting. So I'm not a betting man, except for the lottery every now and then, because I tried to win that $1 billion. It didn't come through, but I tried. But if I were like a betting man, I would bet that most of our community has spent a lifetime denying the truth of who they are on some level or another. And let's Let's dive into that. What exactly is the truth of who we are? The truth of who we are is that we are divine beings with every right to be here. In these bodies, on this plane, in this time and space. Many of us in this queer collective are suffering. Suffering from trauma we aren't even aware of. So many of us have no clue as to the depth of the pain that we're actually in. We've been running away from ourselves for too long. Repressing emotions, not dealing with our fucking shit, numbing ourselves. We've been programmed to hide and deny. Hide who you are. Deny who you are. Creating shame, creating isolation, creating separation. This is why many of us don't comprehend unity. A fundamental comprehension of unity is required to move beyond the ideas of the small self. The ego, or whatever you want to call it, doesn't get unity. Blech. The ego is all about self-preservation, staying alive, which inconsequently is my favorite John Travolta movie. The ego loves separation. So what do we do? What do we do? What do we do, Sebastian? What do we do? I get that there are going to be some people who are not going to like my answer. This entire message may be triggering for some. And let's dive into that. What are triggers? Trauma. Unhealed trauma that's living in our body that will fester and rear its ugly head at any sign of a perceived threat. Perceived. Shit doesn't even have to be real. We will make shit up, turn it into life and death, and come for your ass if you cut us off in traffic or don't say something that we like or, disagree in any way. Perceived threats. It's a simple answer, but in its simplicity, it's really fucking difficult. The answer is alchemy. We have to become alchemists. Alchemy is the transmutation of energy. Okay, what the fuck is the transmutation of energy, Sebastian? You're losing me. You're losing me, Sebastian. Come on. It's taking one form of energy and transforming it into another form of energy. But here's the thing. It requires observation of the energy. Which means self-reflection, self-acceptance, self-awareness, self-forgiveness, inner transformation. Inner transformation. And that requires a different kind of courage. And not everybody is going to be up for the task. Maybe not in this lifetime. But I think that's kind of what the human experience is about, is finding our way back to that journey of inner transformation. But inner transformation comes at a cost. The cost is who we believe we are. who the world has taught us that we are. And now the world that has taught us that we are unworthy, that we are inferior, that we are somehow outside of God, wants us to consider the lives of others. And for someone who is drowning in the frequency of fear, all they can comprehend is separation. Because separation means survival. You can't go from separation to unity. Too big a jump. There's an entire journey in between, an entire mountain in between. It's asking people to rise to a level of comprehension they just don't know how to access. Because the access is self-observation, a reckoning of the self, accountability. And for someone who is living in the fear of the loss of their identity, which means death, self-observation and reckoning with the self, accountability, is scary as fuck. Now, what I can offer, because God knows I've been there. I have been a part of the party culture. I understand identifying with those external circumstances. I understand the communion, the feeling of acceptance that doing drugs with other like-minded individuals can offer. I understand denying the truth of who you are and feeling inferior to the rest of the fucking world. I understand feeling like a rock star when you're high on whatever and you feel the eyes on you. I understand that feeling of empowerment, that feeling of freedom. I get it. But I also understand that shit ain't real. It ain't real. It's a lie. It's a lie because it's not who we really are. It's not who you really are. It's a mask. It's a mask that we wear. It's armor to protect that small self who is living in fear of annihilation. That small self who has forgotten who he really is, who has forgotten his birthright, who has forgotten his worthiness. I can tell you that the courage that it takes, the willingness to tap into that innate desire to feel good, finding that awareness that you are desperately trying to create a life through fear, and step into that knowing, that true deep knowing that we all have when we all know that this shit ain't working. This is creating more pain than it's relieving. Finding that courage is worth it. And the price we pay, which is that false self that thinks he must live in separation, that he must fight or flight. Clearly, I don't get into many fights because that didn't even feel right for me. But that is the price. And if you ask me, that's a hell of a good price to pay for freedom. Not only is the country facing its shadow right now and dismantling these structures of fear and racism and separation, but the gay community has an opportunity in front of it as well to look into its own shadow and dismantle our own structures of fear and racism and separation and discover our birthright to exist beyond those structures. Once you discover, fully embody, know unequivocally, without a doubt, your worthiness, I guarantee you will want to make different choices. That's what I want more than anything, is for our community to know its inherent worthiness. We are allowed to exist. We are allowed to exist. I am allowed to exist. Say it with me. I am allowed to exist. Say it again. I am allowed to exist. One more time, because it feels really fucking good. I am allowed to exist. This doesn't happen overnight. This is not a quick fix. But maybe it can be a wake-up call. Maybe together we can inspire people to wake up from the fucking dream. Maybe we can inspire people to look inward and unlearn a lifetime of unconscious behavior. And I know that sounds big. But within that unlearning, there's magic. There's potentiality. Yeah, I just said potentiality. Unknown potential. Unlimited potential. The best thing that we can do for each other right now is to see each other beyond our mask, beyond our pain, beyond our ideas of who we think each other are. Because that's all those are, ideas, our own ideas. We don't know what's going on in someone else's experience. We don't know what's going on in someone else's mind. Everything that we see is a reflection of what we have going on. It's a reflection of our own shit. Everything is our perspective, and our perspective is built on data from our history that we use to examine the world. Everything is conjecture or projection. And it's time to move beyond that. It's time to let that shit go. And see each other for who we really are. To see the divinity in all of us. And don't get it twisted. This is not about doing nothing. This is not about letting things slide. This is not about condoning behavior. This is not bypassing. This is about creation. This is about creating a new order. If technology can advance and blossom and grow and expand, what makes you think human consciousness cannot? The idea that this is who I am, I'm always going to be this way, I'm stuck in my ways, I can't change, this is just who I am, that is some bullshit. That shit is not gonna fly anymore. That is done. That is 1900s as fuck. And you can agree to that if you want. You have free will. You can agree to those old agreements if you want. I'm going to be over here agreeing to the new. That's where I'm going to be. You can't make other people change. The change starts from within. We've heard it a million times, but it's about being the change. Everyone has their own shit they're going through. Everyone is on their own journey. Everybody has their own lessons to learn. It's about being the example. You can continue to do what you are going to do. I see you. I love you and all your humaning, and I see you beyond all your humaning, but I'm going to be over here living in my bliss. I'm going to be over here at a higher vibration and shit. You can join me if you want. But I will be over here thriving. And if you like what you see, you might want to choose it for yourself. But God bless. But if you feel called to action, if you feel called to protest, if you feel called to speak out, then you should do it, because that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing. I fucking love you. Thanks for listening. The two people that I think are probably, hopefully there's two people listening at this point. I see you. You, my people. I see you. Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for your presence. You know what? You wanna do something crazy? You want to get wild? You want to be a rebel? You want to do something? You want to do something? You want to take some action? I got some action for you. Let's keep evolving. How about that? Let's keep evolving. How about that? How about that? Okay, I think you know that I'm done. All right. Okay, bye.